Hello, I'm Amber Uper, and this is Mini Lathe Amateur. Today, I just want to make a little video to talk to you about some of the accessories for the mini lathe, and some of these accessories would also work for a drill press if you have a drill press that has an MT2 taper in the main spindle. So, let me readjust the camera here and so you can see what I'm talking about, and then we'll get on with it. So, hang on. So that was one thing I wanted to talk to you about. And the other thing is the MT2 tapered shaft. Well, here we are. Let's see, I gotta tilt this down a little more. Okay, there we go. Now, you can see this is the drill chuck out of my drill press, and that has the MT2 tapered shaft on it. I have a pretty good size bench drill press that I bought specifically because the main spindle had the MT2 taper, which means you can change your chucks. You can actually put the drill bits that have the MT2 taper on them directly into the chuck and not have to worry about having a chuck to hold them. And there's also this, which I bought specifically for the drill. And this is an MT2 tapered shaft, which has it's a milling cutter holder, tool holder. And I think these are probably made for the small mills that have the MT2 taper in the spindle. But this one's made to hold 3/8 inch milling cutters. Any single-ended milling cutter you can put into this one, and I suspect that if it's double-ended but it's got a small cutting head on it, you might be able to use that in here also. But I bought that for the drill press because it's an MT2 taper. I have been known to use my big drill press as an impromptu mill from time to time, and this certainly makes it easier than doing it with the drill chuck. Now, the mini lathe has an MT2 tapered shaft also, and you can use these, but boy does this limit your length of cut. You can't put this in the lathe and expect to be able to put Okay, so number one, you've got a long shaft here. That's as far in as it goes. Let's turn that a little bit further. Okay, and some more light. There we go. That's as far in as it goes. You got to take the you've got to take the tailstock and run it way out just to get the MT2 to fit in there. And then you only have, what, a couple inches? 2, maybe 3 inches for a drill before you get to the chuck. So that's pretty impractical, and especially with this great big chuck. But I wanted to demonstrate that first. So basically what you have, this is a full-length MT2 shaft, and this has got the weird end on it, the flat end on it. And basically it's this long so that you can get it out of the spindle, because there's a slot in the spindle where you put a wedge in and basically knock this loose with the wedge. So, and then here's the live center that came with this lathe. And that's got a short, it's an MT2 taper, but it's a short shaft. And I can demonstrate that this way. You can see the difference in the length of the shaft. And they do that so that the shaft will fit further back in to the tailstock without any problems. You got to get way back here before it will eject it. So you have a lot more space in here. So then you get it all the way back, and then it hits the stop and you can take it out. Now, I also have this, which I talked about before. This is a short MT2 shaft with a 3/8 by 24 National Fine Thread on the end, and I have a 3/8 chuck. Well, let's see here. There we go. I have a 3/8 chuck on it, and that's to hold small drill bits. That goes in there. So you can put that in there. You got quite a bit of space here. You got probably 6, 7 inches. Let's see, how much space do we have? Yeah, you got 6 inches, about 7 inches between, well, yeah. About 6.5 inches between the nose of the drill chuck and the end of the lathe chuck. But the problem with this one is it really limits the size of the drill bit you can use. This is a 3/8 chuck. You can't put a drill bit any bigger than that into it. So I bought another one from eBay, from what is it, All Industrial Tool Supply, something like that. Now this one is a full-length taper. This one's pretty greasy too. Okay. So anyway, this one's a full-length taper, but this one has a half-inch 20 thread on the end of it here, so I can put a larger chuck on there. The problem with that is that's a larger chuck. Even a regular, like a Jacobs half-inch chuck is quite a bit bigger than this chuck is. So I figured I'd have to, trying to get this to work here. It's not working, okay. So anyway, there. So I figured I'd have to put a bigger, I wanted to put a bigger chuck so I can hold bigger drill bits. But then you also lose more space for the length of your drill bits. But then I remembered that I had this little 2-inch lathe chuck. And let me run the camera back around this way now. Drill bit in there because there's just not enough space. And I can demonstrate that here. Let me turn the camera. So, I have this little 2-inch lathe chuck. I bought this thing a bunch of years ago, probably 7, 8 years ago. I put it on my drill press. That was back when I was still trying to use the drill press to make a impromptu lathe. Didn't work out very well, but this is a lovely little lathe chuck that it's like a micro lathe chuck that I've had for a while, and it holds a pretty big drill bit. So, and this has a half-inch 20 thread for the mounting. So, I figured, why not do that? That's what I bought this this particular one from. Now, of course, you're stuck with that longer length. And if I want to use this in the big drill, I have to leave it this long, because otherwise I'll never be able to get it out of the spindle, the drill spindle. And so if I wanted to use it in the lathe, I'm stuck with that extra length. Out there, let's see, we'll turn this again. So you can see where it is there. And it's this is the, you have to run the tailstock out that far just to get to where the chuck is where the MT2 shaft is mounted in here properly. So again, you're a little short on your drill space. You got 5.5 inches there between the end of the jaws of the lathe chuck and the end of the jaws of this little chuck. So I'm going to have to buy another one of these because I don't want to cut this one off, and then I can't use this here. I can't use this in the big drill press if I cut this off. So I'm going to buy another one to use in the drill chuck, or the drill press I should say, and I'm going to cut this one off to this length. So then I can use this. This will be just for the tailstock of the lathe, and I'll be able to use this chuck for holding things like drill bits, bigger drill bits, and so you can use this to hold things like a reamer, as well as a drill bit. Yeah. So anyway, take that back off here. So I thought that, you know, I had this on the drill, on my small drill press. I took that off and put an old Jacob's chuck on it so that I could use it on the on my mini lathe. Seems to make sense to me. Screw that on. It'll get tight once I use it the first time, because it'll tighten itself up. So let's see. We'll turn that back around here. So that's what I have for this video. Thanks for watching.